Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching Rewatchers Council. Uh, guys, Snark here. Glad to be back with my buddy Adelia. Adelia, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here to talk about this episode.
Now, are you happy to be here to talk about the episode, or just happy to be here?
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So, we're talking about Ted this week. To go off, what's my line? Part two,
Yeah.
and then follow it up with Ted.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's I would say I think this episode gets bad mouth quite a bit in the community. I would say probably rightly so. It's not a very good episode, and just to see Jack Tripper like this, unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah, R.I.P. to John Ritter. But we'll do all our regular stuff. Obviously, this episode aired December 8th, 1997. Adelia. What a
Okay.
time. Getting ready for
Yeah.
Christmas. My buddies all
Yep.
had birthdays around there for some reason. I have a bunch of buddies with birthdays in early December. It is written by David Greenwalt and the showrunner. Directed once again by Bruce Seth Green. A big time favorite of theirs, especially early on. Number one movie in your United States of America, Adelia.
Mhm.
Flubber. This
Okay.
is this is this is the time of Flubber. I believe this is its only week at number one, if I remember right. Uh,
That would
there's
make sense.
there's something bigger coming. I'm sure we'll be talking about it. It's actually a huge. There's an over a month gap in between this episode and the next one, so I'm pretty sure that this the one that takes over for Flubber will still be number one when we go back in January for Bad Eggs. But the number one song at the time, of course, still Candle in the Wind, because you Americans could not get enough of feeling bad about yourselves.
I guess. I had no idea that song was number one for so long.
Could be worse, because Canada still has Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba as the number one song. This has got to be just a typo, or somebody on the internet's pulling a prank, because this is incredible. It's number one, I believe, for 8 weeks. Hopefully, by the time the show comes back in January, it'll have changed something. It did change in good old United Kingdom. They had a new number one song there. And you know how the Brits love their charity singles, especially around the Christmas time. And
Especially
I
around
don't,
Christmas. The
yeah, I
Christmas
don't.
number one is a big deal.
It's a big deal. This one didn't make it. Uh, I'll talk about the Christmas number one next time. It's a more familiar band. Me, I think this song, I didn't even know the song existed before. I know the song existed because I know Perfect Day is a terrific song by Lou Reed, probably my favorite Lou Reed song.
Love that song.
It's from Transformer. It was the flip side, actually, to Walk on the Wild Side. It's one of those cases where the flip side was way better. Another example, George Harrison's "Wow, What Is Love" is the flip side to "My Sweet Lord," and I like "What Is Love" way there. Anyways, Perfect Day. Now, I thought it was just done for charity, but I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure that it's actually done to promote BBC Radio, because
Okay.
they talk about at the like it's just do you know if you know the song Perfect Day?
Mhm.
Uh, it's just a bunch of people singing one line of it, and the range goes from, well, let's see, Bono,
Okay.
Bowie, who's incredible, and I would have loved to have heard David Bowie just sing Perfect Day because he was
That
great.
would have been amazing.
Elton John, which
Okay.
was, it didn't quite work for me. Emmylou Harris, who also sounded amazing singing it.
I
Tammy
imagine she would, yeah.
Tammy Wynette,
Okay.
Shane McGowan, and if you don't know who he is, recently passed away, famous alcoholic, lead singer of the Pogues,
Yeah.
fantastic. Robert Cray, the blues guitarist, uh,
Okay.
Evan Dando from the Lemonheads for some reason. He was awful. Uh, and of course, and like a bunch of like opera singers singing like
Okay.
like a bunch of different opera singers that didn't make any sense to me at all. And Lou Reed's wife also, well, Lou Reed, of course, sang a couple things or whatever. Lou Reed does not sound good singing his own song. Laurie Anderson, his wife, uh, sings a line or two in it as well. She was good. You know, Laurie Anderson had a unique career. I could say that for sure. Yeah, they said they decided to give it for children in need afterwards, but some of them proceeds and stuff like that went to #1 somehow. And yeah, a lot of it
Crazy.
unlistenable. A lot of it unlistenable. A lot of it. How this thing went to #1 beyond me. Anyways, enough about that. Just go buy Transformer. You know, it's a great album. Anyways,
It is. It's a great album.
the DVD synopsis. Adelia, are you
Okay.
ready? So when
Yes.
Buffy's mother is romanced by a computer software salesman named Ted, Buffy's uneasy feelings cause her to launch a background investigation. That's it.
I mean, it's kind of right.
All right. One thing I wanted to get out of the way first. Do they still have computer software salesmen?
I mean, I imagine they probably do.
I don't know for what.
Well, somebody's got to sell the software that
Yeah.
people make.
Would you feel comfortable buying your computer software from a 50-year-old guy? I don't know.
No.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. Even if he has, I guess this guy's the best salesman in the world. Anyways, let's go on. So when first we meet our friends, Adelia, Xander and Will are debating the hierarchy of power between the captain and Tennille. Of course, Buffy has no clue there. How about you? You big
I know who
Captain?
I know who Captain and Tennille are. I wouldn't say
Big
I'm a
fan?
big Captain and Tennille fan, but I do know who Captain and Tennille are.
I was alive in a time where Captain and Tennille had, I don't know if it was their own TV show, but they definitely had TV specials. I do remember seeing them on TV. Of course, Love Will Keep Us Together. Huge hit. Muskrat Love, as you all know, another big one. Really, that's about it. I don't know how these guys were as popular as they were. Anyways, Xander mentioned that there's been no sign of Spike or Drusilla lately. It's been pretty mellow. So, of course, he's jinxing the group by saying that.
Yep.
Also, they mentioned that the Order of Taraka's contract on them has been called off. So, I think for really one of the first times, they actually sewed up some loose ends on the show.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
like, oh, okay. They didn't just forget about things anymore. Like they don't forget that there's, invisible spies for the government now. Anyways, so they get over to Buffy's house. The door is ajar. Usually not a good sign when it comes to Buffy's place. So she tells the gang to wait outside. She hears some glass breaking in the kitchen. Her mother mumbling something. So she barges in just in time to see her making out with Jack Tripper, Adelia.
He's the craziest person to have had for this actor. You know what I mean? This role to go to John Ritter, like
could have been worse. It could have been Larry. It could have been.
it could have been. It could have been a lot worse. But also,
Yeah.
this could have just been some random dude.
Yeah, John Ritter, television, goddamn royalty.
Yeah.
Is Ted, one of the more despicable characters in the history of the show. So yeah, anyways, he does the awkward hi thing. She I wrote down that she frostily says hi in return. And then yeah, they get introduced. It's Jack Tripper's name is Ted in this. I will not even on purpose just refer to him as Jack Tripper quite a bit. As I mentioned last week, my dog's name is Tripper, and there's a reason for that. Anyways, so Buffy starts doing the piecing together of things with her mom's nights out and stuff like that, and folding in the new guy. And Joyce considered him, oh, he's just wonderful. And so then they met when he was installing the software at the gallery. So not only does he sell it, he's installed it. So that's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Willow and Xander are there. Willow starts talking nerd with Ted. So sweet. And starts getting some free stuff from her. He's promising her free stuff. Also, he's been a busy little baker. He's making some homemade pizza that Xander seems to really like.
I was suspicious of the food from the first bit.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I guess we could just say this. Yeah, this not one of the best written
No.
episodes of Buffy. I think a lot of things are like, yep, this is going to happen. Yep, this is going to happen. And they really hit you over the head with some other things. But anyways, so Joyce asks Buffy if she was okay with them. She does her patented now it seems lie. She says she is, and then we see her out at the I don't know if that's a school ground or a park or whatever, but absolutely beating the crap out of vampire.
Yeah.
Just to
Taking out
take her.
some frustration.
Yeah, the part where I think Giles actually felt bad for the vampire and stuff like that. He asked if
Yeah,
she's
that
all
was
right.
funny.
Yeah,
He's like, I think you can get to the staking now.
yeah. She kind of insinuates that Ted might be a vampire. Here, we're gonna find that is not the case. Not the case.
Yeah.
So back at school, turns out Xander, Team Ted. The way to Xander's heart, it seems, is through his stomach, or by negging him. Of course, you could neg him a lot, and that'll get to him as well. Yeah, Buffy's not so much of a fan of Ted, and her instincts here is tell you're too clean, especially for Sunnydale. Xander teases her for having parental issues. I don't know if that's a good thing to do. To go, you've got parental issues, like especially to
Yeah,
someone
that was not a good thing to do at all.
who beats people to death for a living. That's
Yeah.
nothing. You don't. There's buttons you don't push, Adelia. I've said it 100 times. So Ted, of course, has to appear as they're talking about him. It is the trope of the show. Turns out he's upgrading the software in the guidance office. So
Sure.
they get their own software. Willow gets her a software update as well. What are you gonna say?
I thought that was really funny because he handed her like all those little 3.5-inch floppies.
Yeah.
Back
Here's
in the
me.
day, man.
Here's me, and I was fine with it all. I was like, oh, of course. What are you gonna do? I
Yeah.
guess what is it now? Everything's online, isn't it? Doesn't everything just happen online? Like no one even gets CDs anymore.
I don't even think you can buy computers with CD drives in them anymore.
Mine doesn't.
Yeah.
I famously found out I don't even have a port for goddamn internet cable. Anyways, so Ted decides he's going to invite the whole gang over to play mini golf. Buffy says they have a thing, but Xander puts his foot down and says, "No, we're doing mini golf because he was
The
promised
thing
more,
can wait.
more pizza, like picnic basket pizza, which sounds gross,
It
and
does sound disgusting.
and cookies as
Yeah.
well." So yeah, he's all it took was one bite for Xander. So, anyways, we see Giles drop in on Jenny. He tells her that the textbooks were dropped off at the library. Of course, it's just a ruse, Adelia, so that she can go check up on her. Says she's had a danger free 3 weeks, and that
Mhm.
she needs her space. And she says that he's making her feel bad for not feeling better. So she gives him
Yeah.
another guilt trip. Of course, again, she was all for this stuff before, but whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, he leaves. Buffy goes to Angels. I believe is this the only time we see Angel in this episode?
It is.
So she's patching again. There's a little continuation here, or
Mhm.
continuity, I guess. She's patching up the hand that got a knife jabbed through it, and all she's doing is complaining about Ted the entire time. And then Angel has to remind her that maybe your mom deserves some happiness, but Buffy's only ever going to be happy if her mom and dad get back together. That's the thing. Your parents are still together.
Mhm.
Mine broke up when I was quite young. Like when it was just starting to get fashionable to get divorced, Delia. They were trendsetters. So, yeah, I think for a while, like, and my dad and my stepmother were together not long after that. I think for the first like year or so or whatever, you're just like, well, why aren't my parents together? And after that, you just forget it. It's like, yeah, they would not be happy together. I could tell you that. My dad and my mom, I couldn't imagine them growing up together. Yikes. Anyways, uh, they decide to, okay, she'll give Ted a chance. So she goes out mini golfing. We go to the course. Ted's attempting, some small talk. Then he casually mentions how maybe this will get her grades up.
Yeah.
It turns out Joyce has been a little chatty, filling Ted in on lots of things about Buffy for some
Mhm.
reason. Then Buffy takes a bad shot somehow. Uh, Joyce decides to give her a little bit of a mulligan, give her a do-over. Ted turns
As
out,
one does in mini golf.
yeah, who cares? Ted's a bit of a
Ted
stickler
cares.
for the. He's a little stickler. He's a little stickler for the rules.
Mhm.
Uh, so Buffy says she's going to go find her ball, and tries to make sure nobody's watching, and then puts the ball in the hole. But Ted was watching, even though he was with everybody else. He just decides he's going to go up, and no one's noticing him just watching for some creepy reason. Um, so he tells her, right is right, wrong is wrong, Adelia. And
Yeah.
then when Buffy says she'll change her score, she said, he's not wired that way. So this
Yeah.
entire episode, there's hints like this. Again, they're hitting you over the head with this thing. Like they are not being shy about it at all.
No,
And
not at all.
you see him hitting his leg real hard with that
Yeah.
putter.
What
And
was
then
that about?
he says he won't stand for that kind of malarkey in my house. First off, I appreciate the use of the word malarkey. I use it quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, Buffy has to remind him that she's not in his house. Then he asks her if she wants her mouth slapped.
Yep. Not great.
Yeah, you know what? I say red flag. Red
Yeah,
flag,
red flag.
Adelia.
Red
I think
flag.
maybe this guy isn't on the up and up after all. But as soon as everybody else shows up, he reverts back to his good guy routine. So he's pretty good at fooling everybody else, and Buffy's just sitting there taking it. She's all right, whatever. Next morning at breakfast, things are a little tensiony, I would say, between her and
Mhm.
her mom. And then Joyce accidentally lets it slip that she's in love with Ted. That's
Mhm.
when Buffy fills her in that Ted threatened her. Unfortunately, Joyce believes Ted. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Then tells Buffy, "You got to be home by 6 because Ted's making dinner." He's a little, uh, he's a little chef. This Ted guy.
I guess, man.
Yeah, he's a little busybody in the kitchen, I suppose. At school, Buffy wants the gang to investigate Ted. They seem to take his side as well, though we get another, a little awkward moment between Cordy and Xander. And we're going to get this quite a bit from,
Mhm.
well, for the next little while. Yeah, Cordy doesn't want Xander to compliment her in front of her friends because they might figure out their troubling secret, Delia. Yeah. So they just go to the makeup. They go to the maintenance closet to go make out. So that's it. Willow then agrees to help Willow, and these guys haven't figured. These guys can figure out all this other stuff. They can't figure out that Xander and Cordy are going out to the maintenance closet together. So there you go.
Yeah. That's funny.
Buffy's watching Ted at his work, which is, I don't know. She found it pretty easy. She hides when he goes for lunch. Now, by the numbers, he seems to be a one heck of a computer salesman. He has like 10 times as many marks as everybody else.
Mhm.
That's when she runs to another salesman who's talking up Ted. This other salesman guy was a little jealous of Ted, by the way. He's
A little
excited.
jealous. Yeah.
Yeah, he's excited because it turns out Ted's getting married in a couple of months.
Yeah. News to Buffy.
Well, she goes to his little cubicle. He has one personal item there. It's a framed picture of Joyce, but Buffy recognizes that photo somehow and decides to take it out and unfold it to see it was a picture actually of Joyce and Buffy that is perfectly folded in half. It's just a picture of Joyce.
Yeah.
Also, who has a family photo, just two people that's this big?
I mean, that was a very large, like 5x7 photo, which you can get. So
That doesn't make any sense to me. Anyways, we go back to Buffy's place. It's dinner time. And Ted's saying grace, which is he prays that the people of the house will be more productive, more considerate, Adelia, and of course more honest. Yeah, it's a nice thing to ask for. There's some small talk over the food. Buffy asks, like straight out, if you guys are engaged. Joyce says no, but Ted is a little hopeful, and he asked how Buffy would feel if the two of them did get engaged. Buffy says she would feel like killing herself.
yeah, that was like that. That's probably a bit much, but also seems very appropriate.
Yeah, I would have played that maybe more for laughs. I don't think they played that one for laughs on the show at
No,
all.
they did
I
not play
think
that for laughs.
they're like, she is going to commit suicide if you guys get married. Ted says that, well, you're just going to have to get used to him. And then Joyce sends her to her room, as she often does. So Buffy goes out hunting, comes back home through her window, but I don't know what Joyce is doing, but Ted was just sitting there waiting for her.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, turns out he's been going through some of her things. He says it's fair since she was sneaking around his office. Turns out, I guess someone knew who Buffy was or whatever. Anyways, I don't know how he would have known that. Anyways, he asks, "What is a vampire slayer?" He tells her it's none of his business. He tells her then that everything she does from now on is his business. When she tells him to get out, he tells her that unlike the goblins she's made up, he's real, and that from now on she'll be what he said. She'll do what he says when he says it, or he'll show her delusional diary to her mom and have her locked
Yeah,
up in an insane asylum. Seems like a lot.
not. It seems like a lot. Yeah, not the best stepfather material.
No. And they, again, these people have known each other for 2 days or so.
Yeah.
So he goes to leave with a diary. She grabs him and he slaps her. He says he was so hoping. She says that he was so hoping that he'd do that. And then she punches him. He gets knocked back, but he gets up and hits her again. So he took a punch from the Slayer, gets up, does it again. But Buffy gets the
Yeah.
upper hand again, of course, just as her mom appears. She tells Buffy to stop, but she hits him until he falls down the stairs and lands with a cracking sound. Uh-oh, Adelia. Buffy's killed Ted. So the rest of the episode is just going to be about her criminal trial, subsequent incarceration forever. They do trials in this town very quickly.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not what happens. So the police arrive. Joyce actually does cover for Buffy. Said Ted fell down the stairs, but Buffy does admit that she hit him. She gets interrogated. The cop isn't too sold that he hit her because she doesn't have any bruises. She had to remind him that he's she heals pretty easily. But they don't press charges. And then after an awkward, quiet ride back home, I don't know how if I was Joyce, I would be able to do it, but whatever. Buffy goes to school the next day. It seems the word has gotten around. And one thing you don't notice in this episode, because he never shows up at all, Snyder. You'd think that Snyder would be
Yeah,
all over this.
I was very weird for Snyder not to be in this episode.
Well, it's in some episodes later on. We might get his chance.
Mm-hmm.
So Buffy fills in Xander and Willow. Xander wants to know what Ted was. And then, well, Buffy didn't say anything. Xander gets it. Oh, that Ted was just a human. He wasn't a vampire or a monster at all, supposedly. Buffy then starts blaming herself, saying she had no right to hit him like that. And she goes to leave. She sees Giles, but also sees the detective that was questioning her the night before start questioning the teachers. And the detective here, named Detective Stein, is played by James MacDonald. Adelia, any idea
Okay.
who he is? I have no idea.
No.
He just played in everything that Ferris has ever watched.
Oh,
Just
I'm sure.
he's
That
like
seems to be a pattern with guest stars on this show. They all end up in Ferris's favorite shows.
yeah, he was in like every single NCIS, like every single one somehow. Castle, of course, CSI, Longmire. They was in Longmire. If you ever saw Longmire, had good episodes, but yeah, it was maybe a season 2. Anyways, Buffy leaves, and the Scoobies are in the library. Xander's starting to get a little pissed at Ted. And when Corey says she thought that Xander liked him, Xander says sometimes he likes things that aren't good for him. Wink
Mm-hmm.
at the camera.
Yeah.
Wink at the camera. Willow's having no luck finding anything on Tad, which is odd because she usually finds things very quick. And Giles is carrying a crossbow for some reason, loading it into a bag. Xander was digging around. He actually has found a cookie. Cordy thinks Buffy should be held to a different standard because she's like Superman, which is, I guess she's right, isn't she? If she has
Yeah.
the power to punch somebody to death with one punch or whatever, I guess she should be held to a different standard. Giles telling that the guilt she's going through about taking human life is unbearable. Pretty sure. Now, all we've done is watch every single episode of the show so far. Pretty sure she's taken a human life before. Uh, I believe it was this season. I'll have to go looking back on this or whatever. That's something I forgot to do. I forgot to cross-reference my own notes, which is not surprising, I guess. But yeah, I'm pretty sure she's actually done something where a person has died. So, anyways, yeah, Cordy reminds him that he should know, but the guilt, since he raised a demon that ended up killing some people, friends of his, in fact.
Yeah.
Giles appreciates that she reminded him of that. And now it turns out Giles is going to be the one patrolling until Buffy can resume her work. Willow complains that Ted has no criminal record and is therefore Citizen of the Year because you have no criminal record.
I
Shouldn't
mean,
that
maybe
just
in a
be the
place like
stand?
Sunnydale.
That's like the baseline, right? Just don't have a
Yeah.
criminal record.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Baseline. But maybe in a place like Sunnydale, that does make you Citizen of the Year.
I guess so. So Xander tells Will not to sweat about it. Cordy starts calling him out on it because, weren't you all anti-Ted no second ago? Then you see Willow just grab the cookie and then cuts away. Like, you could have just kept up that scene or whatever. I don't know why you had to cut away from
Yeah.
there. Anyways, Buffy's back at her house. She asks Joyce if she can help pack this Tupperware into this cardboard box
Yeah.
for some reason. Again, it's like, what? I don't understand that at all. Um, she breaks down. She starts telling her mom that she didn't mean to hurt him and stuff like that. I think this is some real good work by Sarah Michelle Gellar here. She
Hmm.
the highlight of the episode, anyways. Joyce isn't quite ready to hear Buffy's apologies quite yet. She is ready to still have her live in her house and stuff like that after killing her boyfriend, but that's fine. Anyways, back at school, Willa has found that Ted's cookies are laced with a drug similar to ecstasy, Adelia.
I
Now,
mean, we knew something was up with the food.
yes, you know, some ecstasy cookies or whatever. They say this particular batch makes you mellow and compliant. So, all right, sounds pretty boring. Cordy announces she's found a bunch of marriage licenses and an address. So good job by Corey. Corey's fitting right into
Yeah.
the Scooby business. Giles is startled by Jenny on patrol, of course. She's come to apologize for being, a little harsh
Mhm.
on him, Adelia, which I think is fair. And of course, Vampire arrives just then. You see Buffy in a room. She tries to leave through the window, but it's been nailed shut. She turns around,
Mhm.
and who does she see? Joyce? No.
Ted.
Vampire? It's Ted. He wants her to apologize for killing him, which is, not out of the ordinary in Sunnydale.
Yeah.
And then he throws her across the room, which is also not out of the
Not out of
ordinary
the
when it
ordinary.
when it comes to Buffy. So again, in classic Buffy style, it just goes from scene to scene to scene. They keep bouncing back and forth. Giles is back with Jenny here. Vamp is really noisily attacked. There isn't too many vampires that yell at you while you
Yeah.
go to attack. This guy decides to do it. Tackles Giles. Jenny decides to grab the crossbow. Giles is fighting off the vampire while Jenny takes aim. This is probably going to work out just fine. You know what I
No,
mean? This
not
is
at all.
never what? Well, we'll see. I vote it's going to be fine. Back to Buffy's. They're still fighting. Ted gets the old Buffy the Vampire Slayer patented chokehold locked
Mhm.
in. He tells Buffy that he had to shut down for a while. Again, more hints, a little more hints. Then we go back to the park. Of course, Jenny's going to shoot Giles in the
Of
back,
course. Of
in the
course.
back, and like
Yeah.
not in the ass or anything like that. Like in the
No.
back, like right by the kidney.
Yeah. I was like, that's not a good place for that to have happened.
Yeah, like he could have renal failure from this. But anyways, the vampire starts laughing about it, which I thought was funny. And
Yeah.
Giles just pulls out the arrow. Bingo bango, stabs it to the heart. He's dusted. We go back to Buffy's. Tess choking her still. She stabs him with a nail file,
Mhm.
which hurts him. Nope. It just exposes a whole bunch of wires. Oh my goodness, Adelia.
He's an android.
Turns out, yeah, he's a robot. What? I couldn't put the pieces and the clues together. Anyways, he starts switching in and out of personalities, and this is when John Ritter at his most John Ritterist. Is that what? I think that's the way you say it.
Sure.
And Joyce finally makes her way up from the basement. There's been all this commotion, and she says, well, whatever. It's been fine. Then he hears her close the door. She doesn't even go up the stairs or anything like that. She just comes up from the basement into the back of the kitchen. So he closes the door, then kicks Buffy in the face,
Mhm.
knocking her out. Now, the Scoobs have broken into a building, and you've watched the later episodes and stuff like that. Did you recognize that set?
No.
The big window. Well, I don't think it's spoiling anything by saying you're going to see a lot of that window later. All right, it's gonna be a thing. Anyways, this is the first time I've noticed it in the show so far. I got pretty excited. It's like I know where this place is. Anyways, so they go search around. Willow finds that Ted's first marriage was in 1957. Delia. It's 40,
Okay.
40, 40 years earlier and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, unless Ted was, 10 years old or something like that, that doesn't quite match up. Then
Nope.
Cordy then mentions that the uh, carpet doesn't match. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So they pull it up. They find a trap door. Oh boy. At Buffy's, Ted starts startling Joyce. He tells her a story about how it's miraculous he's alive. And of course, for some reason, Joyce is buying it. And then he
Yeah.
tells her not to worry about Buffy. Now, over at the magic shop, over at Ted's place, the gang find a room that's straight out of the 1950s somehow. Xander opens up a
Mhm.
closet, closes it right away. and tells everyone he has the evidence. We can all go. When asked what was in the closet, he just says his first 4 wives. That he, yeah. You'd imagine the smell, right? You'd imagine the
Yeah.
smell would be a dead giveaway.
Pretty
Yikes.
awful.
Yeah, it's not terrific. So Ted is promising to make Joyce happy. Joyce wants to talk with Buffy first, but Ted doesn't like that. He yells, then speaks calmly again, then short circuits briefly, but Joyce is noticeably getting bothered by this. She tells him to maybe he should have a rest. He tells her not to tell him what to do, and that he doesn't take orders from women. Adelia.
Yeah, that was not great.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to say, okay, that was pretty cool, and I would have to reprimand you.
No.
It's like, that is not
No,
cool.
no. No.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said it wasn't cool, to tell you the truth. All right, so Jenny's then decides, well, she better take Giles to the hospital, and then she finds it absolutely hilarious that she shot him in the
Yeah.
back. She just shot a man, her potential love interest, in the back. Anyways, Buffy is starting to come to finally. Joyce is looking for ways to not leave with Ted. Tells her that he has all her clothes already. They're always the same size. And then says she left him once, but he keeps bringing her back, which is, a lot of this is just, I don't, yeah. Just, to think that the robot or whatever just were doing the same thing over and over. It's just the story just never made any sense to me. You know
No,
what I
it
mean?
doesn't make any sense.
It's never been great. So yeah, he says husband and wife means forever. I think we've already covered in this that it certainly does not.
No, it does
Buffy
not.
Buffy busts her door. Joyce tries to break free, but Ted pushes her, knocking her down. That's not cool. Yeah,
No.
you do not mess with Joyce Summers. So here's Buffy. He goes to investigate and tells her that he won't stand for this kind of malarkey in his house again. Again with the malarkey, though. So he can't be all bad. He can't be all evil, right? He uses
No, no. You can be evil and still say malarkey.
So Buffy uppercuts him with a cast iron pan. Then she reminds him whose house it is, which was cool. Says let's strike there as peeled off a whole bunch of the skin, I guess, or whatever it is, on his face. And he's got that weird robot face with the weird, Jurgen Kloppish teeth. You know what I mean? He asks her for a bringing it back. I brought it back just for you. He asks if she wants to play a nice game of Parcheesi. She hits him with the pan again, and this time he doesn't get back up. So
yeah,
that's it for Dumb Ted. The next time we see Buffy and Joyce, they're on their porch and they're agreeing to watch Thelma and Louise again because they didn't want anything to do with men.
Rent a movie.
Yeah, this is the 90s. This is what you did. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know how Blockbuster screwed this up so bad. It's because they didn't go into business with Netflix. That's why. Anyways, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of men in Thelma and Louise. Brad Pitt's in that movie. But anyways, yeah. And also, not a great ending. Not a great ending.
No.
If you just wanted to empowerment thing. Anyways, Joyce is worried Ted's going to come back. She knows what the police found at his house, which is gross. Buffy tries to assure her that he won't. Said he's on the scrap heap of life. The scrap heap of life. Again, we're just getting clobbered. We're getting clobbered with it. Oh my god. Back at school, Sanders summarizes what Ted did. Will is impressed with how ahead of his time Ted was. Also, turns out she may have stolen some bits and bobs of Ted's or whatever. Some of the smaller stuff. He tells Buffy that Buffy tells her that she should only use her powers for good. I think that may become a little more poignant later on in the episode. So then at the very end, much like at the beginning of the episode, Adelia, Buffy once again walks in on a couple adults kissing, This time, of course, Giles and Jenny making out at the school that they're both
Yeah.
employed in.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy that Giles and Jenny are not talking anymore, but like why are they doing that in the library?
Yeah, it is the one place in the entire school that no other students go to. That at least the
I
ones
mean,
that don't
it's
know.
true.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it. No more Tad. We don't get to, spoiler alert. We don't get to see Tad again in this program. Uh, gone too soon. What do you think?
No, he's gone just at the right time.
I think you're right. Okay, the next episode is genuinely pretty fun, and I'm pretty sure it's another Marty Noxon episode. It's Bad Eggs, a little body snatchery, if you don't remember.
Okay.
It's a little aperitif, a little something light ahead of what's coming, because what's coming is heavy, and it's going to be heavy for the rest of the season for the most part. So excited about Bad Eggs, much more than I was about Ted, but I did have fun talking about it with you, Adelia. Thanks for joining us. Well, joining us. Thanks for joining me and talking about it. Can people find you anywhere else other than the Rewatchers Council right here on Let's Get Ready Network?
Well, you can find me and Snark earlier this week on the Highlights channel with the season finale of Starting 11, our English Premier League recap show. The season's over. The show's taking a break now. We'll be back in August with preview for the next season of the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
And soon you'll be able to find me back on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific talking on the Open Table with Ferris Muthana. That's on this channel. Starting 11's on the Highlights channel. Links to both those channels are in the description of this episode. Please subscribe.
Yeah, it helps us out a great deal, guys. Our Patreon as well. If you could want to follow along, talk with Adelia and I in the Discord. We can talk Buffy. We can talk anything. What do we care? You guys want to talk about
Patreon.com/LGR_network.
We could talk about Ted if you want. We could talk about the finer things of John Ritter. I'd be happy with that. We could talk Three's Company. I'll talk Three's Company till I'm blue in the face. Also, as for me, everybody, over on the Highlights channel, Playoff Beards, only 2 rounds left of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Adelia is very happy about the results of the second round, and she can't wait for the third round and the finals.
No, I'm not.
I'll be talking about that with Ryan Christensen. We'll have our preview for round 3 coming up this week as well. And Let's Get Ready Network after start weekends. We just finished talking about last weekend. We talked about summer movies that we're looking forward to this coming weekend. As we record this, we'll be talking about summer television shows that we're also excited about. So please tune in for that. Should be lots of fun. It's live, and so maybe there'll be swear words. Who knows? I don't think so. I'm usually pretty good. I don't think I swear in this episode. I hope not. Anyways, the Starting 11, I believe I can hold a couple of. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching, and until the next time, bye bye.